Level 1. Petty federal fraud. At the age of 26, you filed a completely fraudulent application to receive unemployment benefits. You claimed unworked hours to obtain an additional $3,000 during a crisis period. An official letter from a government agency arrives a few months later, which you didn't even know was coming. The document is signed by a regular analyst, contains no threats, and only requests that you provide certain supporting work papers. Junior Agent Rachel Donnelly receives your case among 40 others on her large desk. She doesn't call you. Instead, she simply compares your claims with your company's official tax reports. This brief check quickly reveals the discrepancies and allows her to forward the case to a federal prosecutor for further review. A few months later, you receive an official offer to repay the money and pay a financial penalty without going to court. You quickly pay the entire debt amount, and after that, your case is permanently and finally closed. The main lesson of the first level is that even minimal attention from the government always costs dearly. Level 2. Identity theft ring. At 29 years old, you begin to stolen other people's passports on a large scale and open new lines of credit. It started with just one individual, but eventually grows to 11 due to the lack of serious resistance from the system. You reassure yourself with the thought that major American banks will easily absorb all of these financial losses. However, the case is now handled by a specialized financial crimes unit under the direct supervision of Agent Marcus Ibrahim. He gathers complaints from various offices and notices an identical route for stolen mail in the region. The federal agent creates a detailed chart of your movements, logging every single financial transaction across various stores. Each new statement from the American victims gradually makes the overall picture of the crime much clearer and easier to understand. Ibrahim does not chase you. He patiently waits until the scheme completely exposes your exact current location. By the time law enforcement arrives at your house, they already know your detailed daily schedule and the names of the victims. You aren't just caught. Your illegal operations come to a logical end due to the undeniable evidence gathered in the case. Level 3. Bank robbery. At 32 years old, you spend 11 minutes inside a local bank branch with a threatening note. You walk out with $40,000 in a bag that feels incredibly heavy after committing the crime. Special Agent Diane Okoya arrives at the scene before the colored smoke from the dye pack has even cleared. She closely studies the camera footage, paying close attention to your gait, gestures, and the movements of both hands. Experts quickly track the marked bills through 2 ATMs on the other side of this major American city. Thanks to a call to the hotline, the police discover your name because of a highly recognizable jacket seen in the video footage. A surveillance team watches you for 6 days, tracking your grocery trips and your commute to a regular job. They gather undeniable evidence from low-profile vehicles to confidently secure the case against experienced defense attorneys in court. You are arrested on a Tuesday morning near your car when 6 agents suddenly and completely block your path. 11 minutes in the bank required 6 days of meticulous work by federal authorities for your successful apprehension. Level 4. Interstate drug trafficking. At 36 years old, your local business expands into a major network spanning 4 states. You consider yourself just an ordinary driver or a middleman whose name will never appear on any documents. However, a massive investigation unites several regional offices under the direct leadership of the experienced Patricia Wren from the agency. She meticulously analyzes phone records, delivery schedules, and financial transfers across various shell bank accounts. The network mapping process takes many months, including the review of video footage from remote, large highway parking lots. Court-authorized wiretaps begin recording conversations on a phone you believed was completely safe and clean. You become one of 19 suspects whose names are pinned to this massive federal map of the entire criminal operation. Patricia Wren explains to her colleagues that financial records never lie. Unlike human beings, you are arrested during coordinated morning raids taking place simultaneously across 4 different American states. A year of painstaking detective work culminates in 6 simultaneous and forceful knocks on the doors of all suspects. Level 5. Kidnapping. At 40 years old, you demand a ransom for a missing person, triggering an incredibly fast and massive federal investigation. Experienced negotiator Thomas Reyes immediately takes charge of a specialized crisis team to resolve this dangerous criminal situation. Cell tower data and bank accounts are monitored by law enforcement in real time. The command center operates around the clock, as success in these cases is measured in hours, not long days. Reyes spends the night with the victim's family to establish the necessary trust and coordinate the delivery of the large ransom. You make a single mistake by choosing a public place packed with security cameras for the drop-off of the money. Technicians rapidly analyze footage from 11 different cameras before you even manage to return to your own vehicle. The rental car's license plate and your physical description are completely matched within the next 20 short minutes. You are detained less than 36 hours later, and the abducted individual is successfully rescued, completely unharmed. Time is the only resource that cannot be recovered or bartered away in such high-stakes criminal cases. Level 6. Organized crime. At 44 years old, you occupy a significant position inside a large and well-structured criminal enterprise. Case leader Frank Delroy spent 3 years building a massive case against your criminal syndicate. Instead of busting individual players, the detective team aims to completely dismantle the leadership, operators, and all of their finances. The investigative archive actively utilizes confidential informants who are securely embedded across 3 different levels of the criminal hierarchy. They track dirty money flowing through legitimate front companies set up exclusively to launder this capital on a large scale. The authorization for the wiretaps was officially renewed 4 times over the course of this 3-year investigation. Delroy is convinced that a criminal organization can only be taken down by simultaneously removing all of its vital components. On a Thursday morning, law enforcement carries out 14 massive, synchronized arrests across 2 neighboring American states. You become just a single small line in a structure that federal agents have been meticulously studying for years. Achieving a total understanding of the criminal system and its absolute elimination were the main goals of this long, massive federal investigation. Level 7. Cybercrime against critical infrastructure. At 47 years old, you execute a dangerous cyber attack against a regional network of local American hospitals. You considered it a standard financial extortion plot until the news reports reveal the cancellation of critical urgent surgeries. A specialized cyber division, led by Lisa Chen, immediately launches an investigation into this severe virtual computer crime. Analysts employ advanced digital tools for blockchain analysis to track your secret cryptographic wallets. The blockchain permanently remembers every single transaction, regardless of the use of mixing services or digital anonymization tools. It took the team 4 months of painstaking work to trace the funds through 6 different foreign cryptocurrency exchanges. International partners, under pressure from the US, agreed to hand over the necessary hacker transaction data to American federal agents. You were identified not because of a slip-up, but due to the systematic application of cutting-edge digital forensic analysis. The specific details regarding delayed surgical interventions form the backbone of the official federal indictment in this high-profile case. The cyber attack immediately moved into the highest priority category due to the real and present threat to American lives. Level 8. Serial violent crimes. At 51 years old, your crimes across 3 different states are finally consolidated into a single case. Previously, each incident was treated as a local offense because detectives worked in isolation from one another across the regions. Behavioral analyst Dr. Samuel Whitfield is the first to spot a highly specific signature at all the crime scenes. A 4th case completely confirms his theories, forcing the creation of an interstate task force led by Agent Gregory Alston. They narrow down the search radius for the criminal from 3 massive states to 1 specific small American county. The close collaboration between the analyst and the investigator helps to effectively eliminate blind spots during this complex investigation. The repetitive nature of human behavior remains the most reliable and stable factor, in identifying these serial offenders. A reanalysis of physical evidence using new DNA laboratory methods yields an exact positive forensic match. The laboratory testing took months, as technology caught up with a case that had been waiting for a resolution for long years. Your apprehension right at your front door takes just 30 seconds after years of thorough federal background checks. Level 9. Transnational Criminal Organization. At 55 years old, your illicit operations span 3 countries and involve complex cross-border financial networks. Attaché Robert Castellanos, stationed at the U.S. Embassy, coordinates operations between various foreign government law enforcement agencies. Differing legal systems, evidentiary standards, and political factors significantly complicate the process of successful international prosecution. Obtaining official diplomatic requests for legal assistance requires more than a year of complex bureaucratic paperwork. International cases move at the speed of the slowest government, which is why Castellanos builds reliable partnerships well in advance. Past failures have taught him to establish backup communication channels regardless of the personal availability of foreign officials. Years of collaboration and strong institutional ties ultimately make this successful, massive cross-border operation possible. Synchronized arrests take place simultaneously in 3 countries, despite a massive 9-hour time zone difference. The formal extradition process drags on for long months, demanding far more time than the actual commission of your crime. The slow and relentless machinery of the law completely drains your patience long before the final conclusion of the trial. Level 10. Terrorism. At 59 years old, you plan a massive conspiracy that triggers an unprecedented response from American federal intelligence agencies. The Joint Terrorism Task Force immediately assembles agents, police, and top military analysts. Director Elena Marchetti coordinates the deployment of signals, financial, and human intelligence to gather actionable operational data. Interagency coordination occurs on an hourly basis, and decisions are made at the absolute highest levels of American government leadership. The interaction protocols were fully rehearsed in advance, so the state machine operates precisely, rapidly, reliably, and in total harmony. Any bureaucratic approvals take mere minutes, because the potential price of delay in this investigation is simply too high. This investigation simultaneously deploys digital financial forensics, behavioral analysis, and broad international operational assistance. All investigative methods converge upon you all at once. Instead of gathering evidence gradually over many months, you are arrested within a few days due to the instant activation of the entire United States national security apparatus. The federal system always operates on a massive scale and with absolute inevitability, regardless of the duration or overall complexity of the crime.